it's another Wednesday and the coronavirus beat continues. Of course, News Extra is here with stories on the infection, the palliative care, recoveries and efforts by governments, organizations and individuals to win the war. Also today, the Muslim world gears up for an unusual Ramadan fast. We will tell you all about that. Actually, COVID-19 and the Ramadan fast are not the only stories we have for you on this news package with the extra touch. But I will not let the whole cat out of the bag. I will leave you to flow with the stories as we unravel them. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Omar Buba and this is News Extra. And we begin. The head of the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention has warned that the United States could experience a second wave of the coronavirus. Let's join Joyce Omitu for a global update on COVID-19.
We begin with Nigeria. As at 11:25 p.m. 21st of April, the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says there are now 782 confirmed cases of COVID-19 reported in the country, 197 recoveries, while 25 people have died. The recent figures registered by the NCDC show that Lagos is leading with 430 cases, FCT 118, Kano 73 cases, Osun and Ogun States 20 cases each, while Rivers has 3 and Anambra and Sokoto 1 case each. Generally in Africa, a tally by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. reveal that the continent now has 25,954 cases, 1,202 deaths and nearly 7,000 recoveries. Let's shift our attention now to other parts of the world. Recent figures by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. reveal that 2,588,584 people globally have been infected with the virus, while 180,016 have died. The death toll in the United States has climbed by 2,751 in the past 24 hours, bringing the total to 45,431. Spain has registered 208,389 cases and 21,717 deaths, while Italy reported 183,957 cases. Other countries with over 100 cases include France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. In other news, a possible vaccine for COVID-19 developed by a German firm has been given the green light for human testing. The trial will begin with 200 healthy people aged between 18 and 55 being given the vaccine. Russia recorded 5,236 new coronavirus cases in the last 24 hours, bringing its nationwide tally to 57,999. And that's it from here. Many thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometu.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has appealed to state governments to ensure compliance with the directives by the Sultan of Sokoto for Muslims to avoid congregational prayers during the coming Ramadan period. This was at the daily briefing by the task force in Abuja, and Kyari has that.
This year's Ramadan will certainly be one with a difference, as many states are on lockdown in the bid to contain the spread of coronavirus. Chairman of the Presidential Task Force, Boss Mustafa, acknowledged that the decision to suspend congregational prayers during the period is sacrificial but necessary to prevent community transmission.
I want to use this medium to thank His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, for endorsing the recommendations of the Emergency Fatwa Committee by issuing a statement on the suspension of obligatory religious activities such as Jumat, congregational, and other sessions during the month of Ramadan. I similarly implore all state governors to please consider these directives before taking further decisions.
Respite came the way of university lecturers whose salaries were withheld for not being on the IPPIS platform.
Mr. President has approved the immediate payment of the withheld February and March 2020 salaries of lecturers not registered on the IPPIS platform. All Vice Chancellors are to revalidate the BVN of the affected lecturers before the Accountant General of the Federation can carry out the payments.
On the spate of community transmission of coronavirus in the country, the task force says its searchlight is on Kano and other high-risk states.
Federal Ministry of Health, through the Chief Consultant Epidemiologist, has been with the Public Health Department of Kano State to find out what was true about the news of burials going on there. If these burials were out of normal and they are carrying out further questioning of people to see what was peculiar about the story.
Nigerians were again advised to disregard fake news not emanating from the daily briefings of the task force.
I must reiterate that the task force has not released any official statement on a complete lockdown. I request that the public and the media exercise caution in circulating or publishing unverified news.
The security agencies are working around the clock to apprehend and unveil those who are behind this spate of fake news.
The Presidential Task Force puts the recovery rate from the coronavirus in the country at more than 90% and appeals to Nigerians who experience symptoms not to go into hiding but report such symptoms promptly to the Nigeria Center for Disease Control in Abuja, Kyari, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Economic Sustainability Committee, chaired by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, is enlarging the pool of options open to Nigeria in achieving the administration's plan to turn the current economic challenges to opportunity for Nigerians. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that the new sustainability plan is almost ready for submission to the President for approval.
Now, the Economic Sustainability Committee is leaving no stone unturned for the new federal government post-COVID-19 economic stimulus. For example, earlier in the week, on Tuesday to be precise, Chairman of the committee, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, through a video conferencing, met with the representatives of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. The committee has been collaborating with domestic sectors of the Nigerian economy, and now the Vice President is interfacing with international agencies for the purpose of rolling out options as President Muhammadu Buhari has directed.
What Mr. President has asked us to do is to devise a strategy in order to be able to keep the economy going, and also to make provisions to ensure that we're able to retain jobs and indeed provide more jobs.
We're looking at various ways and means to support each sector of the economy, providing for each sector clear interventions that will be designed with the primary purpose of creating jobs and ensuring that businesses stay afloat during these difficult times.
The 7-member Economic Sustainability Committee was set up as a response to the challenges in the economic front resulting from the fall in the prices of oil in the international market, as well as the disruptive impact of the pandemic that has disrupted the global economy. And it is expected to submit its report soon. And from every indication, the President intends to act speedily on the Osinbajo Committee's report in the State House. Jide Onifade, NTA News.
In another development, Governor Nasir El-Rufai has tested negative for COVID-19 after 4 weeks of quarantine and strict medication. The governor confirmed this through a non-conventional video broadcast to the people of Benue State. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports.
While confirming his test results, expressed happiness over the spontaneous messages of concern and solidarity from all Nigerians, and particularly applauded the professional commitment of his handlers from the State Ministry of Health and Borodiko Teaching Hospital in Kaduna, describing his deputy and chairperson of the State COVID-19 Standing Committee, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, as highly resourceful.
We must all work hard to ensure that we keep coronavirus or COVID-19 out of Kaduna State. We have lower infection rates than expected due to the stringent measures we imposed very early in our state. But we cannot let our guards down. We live in dangerous times. This disease is a threat to our humanity, our lives, and our livelihoods. As someone that has experienced it, I will not wish it on my worst enemy.
Governor El-Rufai therefore restated his commitment to ensure more proactive curtailing of the pandemic in Kaduna State through more stringent preventive measures and treatment of the few that fall victim to the virus. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar-Jingi.
And contrary to the belief of many that testing positive for coronavirus is a death sentence, while survivors of the virus say overcoming the infection, among other measures, includes boosting self-immunity and regular exercises before, during, and after the episode in order to avoid degeneration of full-blown disease. And Funke Ibidamitan tells us more.
The news of Governor Seyi Makinde testing positive for coronavirus alongside other high-profile individuals in Ibadan no doubt further entrenched the awareness and the need for individual protection against COVID-19.
With about 16 cases of confirmed coronavirus in Oyo State, it seems the people are quite aware of the deadly and devastating consequences of coronavirus. Although the town is not under total lockdown, the people say they know that this disease is here and they are self-protecting.
I washing my hand time to time frequently, and then by applying nose cover on my face.
According to what the NCDC said, they said we should sanitize our hand and the usage of nose mask.
With the subsequent negative result for COVID-19 and coming out of quarantine, the survivors are back on their beats. The Chief Medical Director of the University College Hospital UCH Ibadan, Professor Jesse Abiodun Otegbayo, and Provost College of Medicine, University of Ibadan, Professor Lakpade Olaokpa, recounts their experiences.
The line of treatment was not actually the antiviral treatment, that is, because for now there's no specific drug that is known to work for the virus. There's so much that is yet to be known about the virus itself, let alone its treatment. So it's an evolving scenario. So what I did in terms of taking a balanced diet, taking a lot of fluids, exercising, and taking some vitamin supplements were just ways of boosting my immune system.
The issue was to stay healthy. So to my mind, that was both a mental thing, so I stayed mentally strong. Like I said, I was working, I was raising funds, I was discussing with my colleagues, so that helped me stay strong mentally. Physically, I was doing things within my house, I was exercising. I actually succeeded in losing 5 kilos, which I've been struggling with.
Although both patients remained asymptomatic all through the period of quarantine, they called on lifestyle changes in the fight against COVID-19.
In Ibadan, Funke Ibidamitan, NTA News.
And from Ibadan, we'll take you to Kano, where the Kano state government is taking additional control measures against community transmission of COVID-19. And Chairman of the State Task Force on COVID-19 and Deputy Governor Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, who disclosed this at a news conference, explained that this is coming against the increasing rate of transmission in the last few days. And Abdullahi Mustafa has the details.
Kano State recorded its first case of COVID-19 on the 11th of this month, and in the last 10 days, the number continued to increase exponentially. As at the last hours of Tuesday, the number stands at 73.
We have listed over 300 contacts and we are following up on 259 of these contacts.
After presentation of situation reports by stakeholders, the Deputy Governor announced additional measures to forestall community transmission of the disease, including suspension of congregational prayers, tafsir, and any other public gathering during the holy month of Ramadan.
We urge the people of Kano State to strictly adhere to the advice of the professionals.
He, however, announced the relaxation of the lockdown order on Thursday between 6 a.m. and 12 midnight to allow Muslims to prepare for the fasting season.
From then on, it is necessary for the state to continue the lockdown because of these rising cases.
The Deputy Governor also enjoined people of Kano and other Nigerians to ignore all fake news being circulated on the social media regarding COVID-19 in Kano State. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTN News.
Well, thank you so much, Abdullahi Mustafa, for that. And to talk more, I have with me, joined via Skype, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Thank you so much for joining us on News Extra, Mr. Governor. Well, I'm going to begin, Mr. Governor, with, a question that says reports, of facility due to the so-called strange illness that have been all over the media, coronavirus cases too, as reported by the state government and NCDC, have witnessed a spike within a short period of time. So, Mr. Governor, if you can hear me, what is going on?
Well, thank you very much for this very important observation and question. Certainly, there is an increase of the number of positive cases here in Kano. This can be attributed to the high population. If you can see what is happening all over the world, like in New York City, like in Lagos and in Kano. So it looks that it is an attribute of high population, especially density population. But equally the same, you see, we were taken unawares because we had some infections, people who came from Istanbul in Turkey, and the index one went to Abuja and went to Lagos and came back. And we did not get this information until this will contacted so many people. I think this is the beginning of it, and now it has been compounded with the community transmission. But however, we have built up our capacity in terms of physical development and in terms of manpower development. We have established all the isolation centers with the necessary facilities and also with the necessary manpower in order to tackle the situation. But as you know that for a long time, we were not having the testing center until of recent. And even recently, the testing center was off for some 2 days. And you know the implication of that, because those who are supposed to be tested, they have been going around unnoticed, and we could not even track them. And even if we track them, since we have not tested their samples, it's very difficult to determine the situation.
Yes, Mr. Governor, is it true that, thank God you talked about, the testing center, and so people are saying the testing center, was suspended due to lack of test kits. Has it been reopened now, and do we have the test kits there available?
Well, I think it has been reopened, but what we have learned is that there will be some fumigation, which will also take another day or so, and we believe by tomorrow or next tomorrow, that center will be open. But we know the implication that's because there are people who have submitted their samples, we are quarantining them, and there are some people that must come forward. We have to fish them out because of the high contact. So I think to open that center as early as possible is very, very important to us.
And we have that there have been, violations of the stay-at-home order in the city. What is the situation with the enforcement of the lockdown?
Well, we have increased the surveillance by the security agencies, and so far I think people are abiding by it. But we have also held a meeting with various, stakeholders in order to see the issues at stake, especially that His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, has made a pronouncement that they are confirming, we have already told our people that there shouldn't be Friday prayers in the mosque, and also even the tafsir, the sermons should be done at home, no gathering of people. And I think if people can abide by this, it will reduce, the level of, breaking that rules and regulations.
It would sure reduce that. And we also understand that the state government has relaxed the lockdown order to enable, residents prepare for the Ramadan. What happens then after tomorrow?
Well, the lockdown will continue after tomorrow. As earlier mentioned, we are lifting the lockdown from 6 a.m. tomorrow to 12 midnight tomorrow, so that our people will have the opportunity to go to the neighborhood markets and do the purchases in preparation of the Ramadan that is likely to start on Friday. But the lockdown after that will continue for the next 7 days.
Okay, Mr. Governor. Then my last question, what is the capacity of the state to contain the pandemic? The issue of palliatives, especially, with the coming of the Ramadan period.
Pardon?
Okay, I'm talking about, the palliatives. What would you do about it, most especially during this period of Ramadan?
Yes, we are ready for that. We appointed a powerful committee that collected some food materials and also collected some money. And by tomorrow, we'll start distributing the palliatives, because we have designed a structure to ensure that there is a wide spread for the benefit of these palliatives, because we have taken the 484 wards into consideration, and in each ward we have considered the polling units. So we have taken 300,000 family units, and we are starting with 50,000 units in the distribution of the palliatives. But we are waiting for assistance from the federal government. So far, we have been looking, because our finances really are down, and it's difficult for us to continue as it is, but we have no alternative. We have applied to the federal government, and I believe we will expect some, some financial assistance to that effect.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Governor, for that information. And the thing is that, I earlier asked you about, the fatalities. So many people, they said, died. So what is it? You actually did not talk on that. And I know people would really, want to, have the answers to that strange illness in Kano.
Thank you. It's part of the fake news. Of course, there is death, but there is no unusual death rate in Kano. When we computed the number of deaths, we found that there are normal deaths that occur from day to day, even though there's no issue of normal death anyway. But what we want to inform you is that so far we have only one death out as a result of coronavirus, and all other deaths that have been recorded are normal deaths here in Kano. And they have not been attributed to coronavirus. However, further investigation is going on. But with the help of World Health Organization members, we have drafted people at all the cemeteries who will be taking the death on daily basis, and also will be finding out the source of the death. If it is in the hospital, then we find out the cause of the death. And if it is in the houses, then we contact the families. So we are building a very comprehensive data on the death issue. So I think as of now, we believe that that number of deaths is just a kind of negative propaganda on the issues of Kano.
Thank you so much, Mr. Governor, for that information, and thank you so much for coming on a News Extra. And moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari has received more condolence messages from presidents of Guinea-Bissau, General Umaru Sissoco Embalo, and Guinea, Professor Alpha Conde, and Liberia, Dr. George Manewe, and Benin Republic, Patrice Guillaume Talon, over the passing of former Chief of Staff Malang Abba Kyari. And Adebala Brooksland Sunday reports.
A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, states that in a letter, the President of Guinea-Bissau expressed deep condolences and sincere feelings of compassion to President Buhari, family of the deceased, members of staff of the President's office, and the Nigerian people. The President of Guinea-Bissau says Mr. Kyari actively contributed to the strengthening of relations and cooperation between the two countries and will be deeply missed. Others who sent messages to President Buhari are Ambassador of Japan, Mr. Kukuta Yutaka, Head of Mission, Embassy of the Republic of Congo, Omba Olenga, and Charge d'Affaires, Gambia High Commission, Amadou Tahal. The Embassy of the State of Libya and Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, former Principal Secretary to President Goodluck Jonathan, Ambassador Hassan Tukur, and former Minister of Information, Prince Tony Momo. Former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Nuratu Batagarawa, and Benue State born Professor of Law and Jurisprudence in the United States, Professor Dick Azinge, also commiserated with the President.
And similarly, members of international community and business circles have continued to commiserate with President Buhari over the demise of late Malam Kyari. And Abakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Among the latest sympathizers is the heir to the revered British throne, Prince Charles. It describes the death of late Malam Kyari as painful and expresses deepest sympathy to President Buhari, the government and people of Nigeria over the monumental loss. In a condolence message to the president, Prince Charles regretted the death of Kyari, saying the vacuum created by his exit will be greatly felt for a long time. President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, has also extended his condolence message to President Muhammadu Buhari. In a message from the Embassy of Rwanda, the president expresses solidarity of the government and people of Rwanda to Nigeria and prayed God to comfort the country. In his own message, an industrialist, Abdul Samad Rabiu, describes the death of late Chief of Staff to the President as a colossal loss. He says Abba Kyari served the administration with diligence and utmost loyalty. Abdul Samad Rabiu says late Abba Kyari was deeply committed to the service of Nigeria, especially the diversification agenda of the economy by the federal government, and prayed for the repose of his soul. The Emir of Garzagamu, Ahmad Tijani Ibn Saleh, Emir of Adeja, Al-Aji Adamu Abubakar Maji, the Secretariat of Developing D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation, headquarters in Ankara, Turkey, and retired Ambassador Chinade separately sent their deep condolences to the President. Former Minister of Labour, Dr. Emeka Wogu, former Managing Director of Guardian newspaper, Eluem Emeka Izeze, and the President of Alumni Association of National Institute, Mohammed Abubakar, also condoled with President Buhari over the loss of his reliable and hard-working Chief of Staff. They described late Kyari as an intelligent public officer who brought his experience to bear in the service of Nigeria. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
And former Vice President Mohammed Namadi Sambo has condoled with President Muhammadu Buhari on the sudden loss of his Chief of Staff, Malam Abba Kyari. Namadi Sambo described Abba Kyari as a man of impeccable character who renders selfless service to the nation. He commended Nigerians for their resilience in this period of national and global challenge brought about by COVID-19. The Forum of South Monarchs has also expressed its heartfelt condolences to President Muhammadu Buhari and the country over the demise of the late Chief of Staff, Malam Abba Kyari. And Secretary of the Forum, Oba Idanisi, asked President Buhari to take solace in the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, regarding Muslims that died from pandemics. Similarly, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, described Malam Abba Kyari as a technocrat par excellence, a man of strong principles and a loyalist to the core. And up ahead, as the coronavirus pandemic, redefines almost every aspect of human activities, both the physical and spiritual, code of conduct for Muslim faithful amidst COVID-19 as they brace for the Ramadan fast. Stay with us.
Fellow Nigerians, follow the instructions on social distancing. The irresponsibility of the few can lead to the death of many. Your freedom ends where other people's rights begin. The security agencies have risen to the challenges posed by this unprecedented situation with gallantry, and I commend them. I urge them to continue to maintain utmost vigilance, firmness, as well as restraint in enforcing the restriction orders while not neglecting statutory security responsibilities.
Stay-home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Glow Unlimited.
The National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency, NESRIA, an agency of the Federal Ministry of Environment, advises that infectious waste generated from isolation centers and treatment of COVID-19 infected persons are disposed according to laid down guidelines. Disinfection of buildings, streets, and equipment should be done using set standards. Waste handlers should wear appropriate personal protective equipment properly. Waste generators should package their waste for transport to treatment facilities, and each containerized infectious waste must be securely closed and labeled. Don't reuse disposable gear. Proper handling of infectious waste will reduce the spread of coronavirus. For detailed guidelines and further information, visit nesria.gov.ng. Email dg@nesria.gov.ng. Helplines 090-1066-1915. Nesria, ensuring a cleaner and healthier environment for all Nigerians.
Stay connected with your loved ones from wherever you are with the Airtel Home Broadband Device offer. Get up to 160 gigabyte free on Airtel routers with just 19,999 Naira and up to 55 gigabyte free on Airtel MiFis with 9,999 Naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by
Airtel, the smartphone network. I write on behalf of myself, members, management and staff of the National Assembly Service Commission to commensurate with Your Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, on the demise of your Chief of Staff, Malam Abba Kyari, whose death was announced on Friday, 17th April 2020. Malam Abba Kyari, in his lifetime, was renowned as an astute public servant, a loyal and trusted aide to Mr. President. He was a straightforward, honest and hard-working man. He was a detribalized Nigerian who built bridges across various ethnic nationalities of Nigeria. He was an accomplished journalist, a lawyer of high repute and a banker par excellence. He died while rendering service to his dear fatherland. Indeed, his demise is not only a great loss to Benue State, but the whole country at large. I pray that the Almighty Allah will grant you and his family the fortitude to bear the irreparable loss, and may Allah grant him eternal rest. Once again, please accept my heartfelt condolences. Signed, Engineer Kyari Amshi, FNSC Executive Chairman.
You've seen me promote Lifebuoy soap, but today I urge you to use whichever soap that is nearest to you, because washing hands with soap helps to fight the coronavirus. This is a public service announcement from Lifebuoy.
Power outages have become part of our lives, and life can be a nightmare without power. That's why, now more than ever, you need to take control of your life with Omaha Portables.
The power output of every Omaha generator is exactly as stated in its power rating.
As long as there's Omaha, your home will have the reliable power you thoroughly deserve.
Omaha generator gives us peace of mind because it never fails us.
Omaha Portable Generators, inspired by you. Amazing Bluetooth, gripping 4K, high-def satellite receiver, vibrant colors, make you feel truly immersed in the action. Omaha Television, inspired by you.
Improved household hygiene is essential to keep your family safe. Did you know that the sodium hypochlorite, the active ingredient in hypo bleach, is equipped to fight viruses and germs? Add some bleach to water, soak a clean napkin in diluted bleach, and wipe off germs from common contact surfaces. Wipe off with hypo. Disinfect your home with hypo bleach always.
Endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association.
Welcome back to News Extra. You know, at perilous times like this, coronavirus days, there is, nothing like being prepared for anything. That's why the Oyo State Governor, Seyi Makinde, is requesting for certification of more COVID-19 testing centers in the state. The governor made the appeal when the Director General of Nigeria's Center for Disease Control, NCDC, was on an assessment tour of COVID-19 facility in the state, and Kyari Oladosu has the details.
Assessing the facilities procured at the Olodo Infectious Disease Center, the Director General of NCDC noted that the medical equipment at the center will not only serve your state, but the country at large.
Working together with the WHO support, the NCDC support, and all aspects of government, we can really create a great example for the country here in Ibadan.
Hosting the officials of the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization's representatives, Governor Makinde reiterated that one of the measures to curb the spread of COVID-19 is to establish more laboratories for testing of the virus.
The fact that we want to do mass testing, our aspiration is actually to test 10,000 people within the shortest possible time. So we need your support.
The Director General of Nigeria Disease Control was in Oyo State to evaluate the steps taken by the state government in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic in Ibadan. Kyari Oladosu, NTA News.
Now from Ibadan, we'll take you now to Benue State, where the Benue State Governor, Samuel Autumn, has ordered the complete facelift of the General Hospital in Boko for efficient and effective healthcare delivery, especially during this period of coronavirus pandemic. He gave the directive when he inspected COVID-19 isolation center earmarked by a team of health workers and donated to the state government. And Charles Abba reports.
The General Hospital, Boko, which was established in 1975, has continued to cater for the health needs of the community and its environs. As a proactive initiative to tame the tide of the pandemic, a team of health practitioners made their contribution by the donation of an isolation center. Governor Samuel Autumn, who appreciated the gesture, made a personal donation of 5 million naira to the project and directed the Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Sunday Ongbabo, and that of Housing and Urban Development, Ekpe Ogbu, to immediately evaluate the cost of dilapidation of the facility for onward submission to the state government for necessary action.
Similar hospitals in Benue State that have not been given attention for over 40 years still exists. but we had to start from somewhere.
The governor also ordered people encroaching into the hospital's land to keep off or face the wrath of the law. Meanwhile, the governor also inspected the ongoing work on the Tortue Palace and commended the quality of job done and pledged to do all within government's resources to ensure that the project is completed within 2 months.
This is a very noble project that should be completed for the paramount ruler to settle down so that he can discharge his duties.
The money is not easy by now, so whatever the governor can arrange with him, let him go ahead and make the people proud.
The contract for the project, which was awarded 2 years ago, has reached 90% completion. From Boko, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Well, thanks, Charles, for that update. Now, the Sultan of Sokoto and Chairman Jama'atul Nasrul Islam, Mohammed Saad Abubakar III, has urged Muslim faithful in the Ramadan period to pray for the end of the coronavirus pandemic. The JNI, in a statement, wishes Muslims a rewarding Ramadan in advance, but admonished faithful to stay at home and pray with their families during this coronavirus pandemic, noting Islam positions on plagues and pandemics. On Tafsir, the JNI urged Muslims to explore the various online platforms to conduct it, praying that Allah, who knows all, will accept all deeds, as well as the end of coronavirus pandemic will soon end. It commended federal government over efforts to end the pandemic and urged Muslims to cooperate with authorities to end it. Meanwhile, the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has asked the Muslim Ummah to look out for the new Ramadan crescent from Thursday, 23rd April 2020, equivalent to 29th of Shaban, 1441 after Hijrah. And in a matter of days now, Muslims around the world will commence the Ramadan fast in a way that has not been experienced before by many. No thanks to coronavirus. And guests on NTA's Tuesday Live took time to look at this unprecedented situation and gives useful insight on how to have a rewarding Ramadan fast. Well, Doi India will take it up from here.
As one of the 5 pillars of Islam, the observance of fasting during the month of Ramadan is imperative for Muslims faithful. The period is characterized with increasing attendance of worshippers, tafsir, and communal breaking of fast.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
With the concerns raised, however, on the observance of the Ramadan fast, especially in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, guests on the program encourage Muslims to yield to the instructions of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and other Muslim bodies, all of whom called for the avoidance of large gatherings.
His Eminence has approved that we suspend Taraweeh prayers in the mosque. Not only Taraweeh, itikaf, that is seclusion that we do towards the end of Ramadan in the month, is also suspended for this year. We have also issued comprehensive guidelines on what will happen in case a Muslim dies during the COVID.
And it has caused a lot of death, not only in Nigeria, but all over the world. And therefore, we have to take precautions.
So it's something that has been coming. When HIV came, it was a major pandemic also. Within a short period, 2005 to 2012, it took over 30 million lives. But all this, when the scientists study it, what they try to encourage is behavioral change.
Millions of people around the world affected by the coronavirus pandemic, clerics on the
there is a pandemic. Therefore, it is an opportunity to uplift the spirituality of the home.
So as much as we are recording deaths and all that,
it also comes with its own blessings if we can understand or read within between the lines.
And that way would have
citing of and a formal announcement by the Chairman Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar III, is on, and Muslims are encouraged to comply with all the regulations. In Abuja, doing Dia NT News.
Very coronavirus pandemic during the holy month. And Khadijat Akambi reports.
Ramadan, Muslim faithful engage in series of religious activities such as attending Ramadan lectures, congregational prayers, and breaking of fast in groups, among other activities. For this year's Ramadan, however, it will not be the same story because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
We are going to fast, but it will not be like the one that we have been doing severally.
We are praying for God's intervention for this Ramadan.
The Ramadan fast, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, is observed by Muslims across the globe, and there is usually a high level of spiritual consciousness among the Muslim faithful during this period. As the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria, it has become imperative to regulate the conduct of Muslim faithful in Lagos during the month of Ramadan to curtail the spread of the virus. The Chief Imam of Lagos cautioned the Muslim faithful in the state against holding Ramadan lectures in congregation and emphasized that the Taraweeh prayer, which is the supererogatory prayer, usually held between 8 and 9 p.m., should be observed at home.
Islamic scholars should therefore employ the use of diverse information technologies tools, such as Facebook, Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp platform, among many others, for live streaming of their sermons.
That we've been able to keep down the figure as low as this is a great tribute to the fantastic work that the state government as well as the federal government had done on this matter.
Other speakers also appealed to the Muslim faithful to cooperate with government and obey the directive of the Sultan of Sokoto while observing this year's Ramadan fast. In Lagos, Khadijat Akambi, NTA News.
And from Bidda, we are told that the Etsunupe and Chairman, Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Alhaji Yahya Abubakar, has called on Islamic clerics to be guided by the laid-down rules of the government during their Ramadan lectures. The monarch gave the advice at a pre-Ramadan meeting with the clerics held at Wadata Palace, Bidda, and Jones Ajay reports.
The annual pre-Ramadan meeting organized by the Etsunupe and Chairman, Niger State Council of Traditional Rulers, Alhaji Yahya Abubakar, is to caution the Islamic clerics on what is expected of them in the month of Ramadan, especially in their lectures. He said, with the present global coronavirus pandemic, there is the need for the clerics to enlighten their followers that the pandemic is real and they should also be guided by the rule of government on public gatherings and social distancing. Yahya Abubakar described the month of Ramadan as sacred, which the faithful should use to improve on their faith and worship. The monarch enjoined the clerics to endeavor to teach their followers the right thing about Islam, as well as the reason why they should obey the laws of the land. The Etsunupe admonished the clerics to shun unguarded comments and unnecessary attacks on their followers.
No more assembly of a large number of people. They can conduct their tafsir, they can conduct their normal preaching within the enclave of their own families or within the enclave of their own people, with a very minimum number of people.
Chief Imam of Bidda, Sheikh Adamu Yakatu, appreciated the Etsunupe for his advice to the clerics and gave the assurance that they will abide by the rules of the government on COVID-19. He prayed for peace in the land and the extinction of coronavirus pandemic. Jones Ajayi, NTA News.
And in these days of coronavirus war, yes, it is a war, and everybody is expected to contribute to the overall effort to win it. So it is encouraging and heartwarming that as the federal government continues to deploy resources to winning this war, more Nigerians are not just giving it a pat on the back, but also doing the needful. And Doe India was at the Nigeria Center for Disease Control head office here in Abuja, where some presentations were made.
The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, an agency under the Federal Ministry of Health, has been in the news in the last few weeks, though the task is in sync with its mandate, which is fighting coronavirus, a pandemic which has put the global community on its toes. As the fight is being sustained at both the federal and state levels, providing the personal protective apparatus and all the medical support in large quantities has become necessary. Therefore, this kind gesture by the Citizens Church Abuja came timely.
We've seen what is happening in places like the United States of America, where over 40,000 people have died. We can't afford such an outbreak in Nigeria. So whatever we can do to contain and to curtail this spread, the better it is for us as a nation. So every well-meaning Nigeria, organizations, institutions should please come out and give the support they can towards the fight of this pandemic.
Sure, look up to God and let our anchor hold on God,
while assuring the donor and the public of maximum utilization of the equipment. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control urged Nigerians to maintain their calm and follow all stipulated guidelines by medical experts.
We use this as well to preach to other Nigerians that there is every need to protect ourselves against this deadly virus.
Though the fight against coronavirus pandemic may be so daunting, but having the right courage and support from well-meaning Nigerians will make the difference. In Abuja, Doe India, NTA News.
Yeah, sure, you've said it all. Now, the Nigerian Infectious Disease Society has observed what it describes as inappropriate habits and practices regarding the use of face masks for COVID-19 prevention in Nigeria. A statement by its president, Professor Dimie Ogoina, says the society is worried over abuse and misuse of surgical masks and N95 respirators, as they are routinely used for non-medical purposes by members of the general public and government officials, despite the insufficient quantities in hospitals. The statement explains that many unsuspecting Nigerians could be exposed to infected droplets from those who wear these respirators and do not know that they are infected. The society urges the public to desist from practices of repeatedly touching the front of face masks in a bid to adjust it, wearing them on jaws and necks instead of covering the mouth and nose. Removal of face masks without observing hand hygiene, as well as keeping such masks inside pockets or with personal belongings, as all of this could cause the spread of COVID-19. The initial and additional confirmed cases of COVID-19 patients in Akwa Ibom State, according to the COVID-19 managers, are responding to healthcare treatments and have remained stable. And Ifoma Aikoje, however, reports that the late Dr. Dominic Essien's posthumous sample, which came out positive, has continued to raise a lot of concerns among Uyo residents.
The coronavirus patients who are being managed at the multi-specialty hospital are stable and have no need for ventilators. The managers say the government is also providing every necessary support.
The patients that are remaining are stable. None of them has required a ventilator.
We commend the efforts of the Akwa Ibom State government within the last few weeks.
The COVID-19 frontline health managers in Akwa Ibom State have also commended the collaboration and contributions of NCDC and requested for more assistance. On the concerns raised by the late Dr. Dominic Essien's posthumous sample that came out positive, patients and clients who interacted closely with the late medical expert have been advised to self-isolate and make themselves available for testing. Meanwhile, Akwa Ibom State government has proposed aggressive COVID testing and is working round the clock to provide more facilities for the management of the pandemic.
After a laboratory contact tracing, the next thing is you must test these people. It is even better to test people who are not showing any symptoms. The beds, the equipment, and what we are going to use here, they are all ready.
Only designated treatment centers can provide safe isolation and management of COVID-19 cases. Hence, experts have said it is important for every suspected case to be reported to the appropriate authority for proper management. In Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, Ifoma Aihoche, NTN News.
In times like this, with the ravaging impact of coronavirus pandemic and the need to do more assisting the needy in the society brings into focus what you are doing to contribute towards bringing happiness to the people. Well, here is a positive response to Nasarawa South Senatorial District with the distribution of tons of rice and other items by Senator Tanko Almakura, and Abari Solomon will tell us all about it.
3,000 bags of rice have been distributed to electoral wards of Awe, Doma, Kiana, Lafia and Obi local government areas comprising Nasarawa South Senatorial District. To avoid crowd and ensure fiscal distancing, representatives of each electoral ward received the commodity and other items for distribution.
Every polling unit has to be given their own share as far as we have the formula on ground, mandated by the strategies for this formula to share.
This moment is a trying moment for the whole world, and for someone on this with a very good heart to support these people is a man to be reckoned with.
Senator Umaru Tonko Almakura says people must continue to obey all directives by the government in order to reduce the spread of COVID-19.
I advise them that each electoral ward has a number of units. So to make it easy to distribute, they should take it to every unit within the electoral ward. So I think if they follow this arrangement, there is no any part of my constituency within these 53 wards that will be left out.
Nasarawa State is among the states with 0 case of coronavirus. In Lafia, Abari Solomon, NTN News.
Kyari news there. Now, the lockdown is still on, and one thing is certain: food banks will need to be refilled. Well, the federal government understands what citizens are going through, especially the vulnerable groups in the society during this lockdown as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. And that is why the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is on its toes to keep a promise made. Ruth Aguela has that.
Food items stored up, ready for distribution. Another move by the federal government to bring a light of hope to residents in the FCT.
Seeing what has been happening for the past...
The presentation of palliatives by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to the FCT administration is part of efforts in carrying out the President's directive to ensure that the poor and vulnerable groups in the lockdown states benefit from the program.
We have just handed over rice now, 5 trucks of rice. A gesture by Mr. President Muhammad Buhari as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is what we have done today. We have carried out that directive by handing over this food relief to the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory.
For the FCT administration, these food items will go a long way for the beneficiaries whose demands keep increasing and will ensure a fair distribution for all categories of persons.
We have received so far 5 trucks of rice and 5 trucks again on the way, as we are made to understand. There are trucks of other grains and there will be trucks of vegetable oil.
A hands up for those in their need at this time offers hope on many levels. A virus that has cast a bleak shadow, but a grim outlook may fade a bit when there is some fortification in the belly. In Abuja, Ruth Aguela, NTA News.
Keep up the good work, federal government. Now, how do you think life will be like under this COVID-19 lockdown if you had no access to news and information on any platform, including, the radio, television, newspapers, and the social media? That is just, for you to imagine, because access to information at a time like this is paramount in the fight against coronavirus pandemic. Now, in this report, Abba Suleiman takes a look at journalists in front line of the war against coronavirus.
Nigeria, like other countries of the world, is at war with the invading virus that has claimed the lives of more than 170,000 people worldwide. People are directed to stay indoors while medical personnel put their lives on the line to treat those infected with the COVID-19. Just like their counterparts in the health sector, journalists are also at the war front. As the World Health Organization describes, media as crucial in dealing with the pandemic. As people say, information is like a light in the darkness for the people who seek to know the truth about the world around them.
We are even on high risk, like including the health workers. We are almost on the same level with them because we are exposed to this virus on a daily basis.
And what the Nigerian Air Force is doing. Naja'atu Tijani is a defense correspondent with the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. She says news coverage is engaging, just like being in the war front, because it has to be on point, unbiased, the truth, and nothing but the truth.
When you talk about COVID-19 in terms of it being an unseen enemy, and in the field you have to take every precaution. Just like when a soldier is going into battle, he has to be well prepared, he has to have his weapons, he has to have his strategy. For us now, our weapons are the hand washing, social distancing. These are the weapons of, should I say, destruction of COVID-19.
Just like Naja'atu, Onengie Fineface is a reporter covering environments. He told me that his job now doubles, unlike before the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic, as he has to make his report addresses the needs of people apart from just informing and entertaining.
We go out to the field, we face frontline encounters, areas that people dread to go to. We get to just to make sure that we keep Nigerians informed.
Other reporters who share same position like Dr. Fineface emphasize that journalists, including photographers and video camera operators, are prone to contracting the virus.
The federal government, the NCDC, they have given guidelines for us to be followed, and I'm adhering to that directive completely to ensure I'm safe at this particular moment.
Every day meeting people and going back home, I feel, this fear of the disease, it's always there. I come to office, I know that so many reporters must have gone out and came back. You don't know who they met and all that. The fear, is just there.
It's quite unfortunate that the coronavirus is here. So many people are not having the correct information and the necessary information concerning the whole thing. But thank God, the social media and conventional media out there, trying to give the information that is necessary to the public.
Our job of reporting and covering events that has to do with COVID-19 and other national issues is crucial at this period. While on duty, we pray for God's protection. Abba Suleiman, NTA News.
Well, you and my colleagues have said it all. We always wash our hands, we always keep safe, and that is the practice. Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the Emir of Ilorin, His Royal Highness Alhaji Ibrahim Sulugambari, on the joyous occasion of his 80th birthday anniversary. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says President Buhari joins indigents of Kwara State in general and Ilorin Emirate in particular in celebrating the milestone with the eminent monarch. The president affirms that the former presiding Justice of the Court of Appeal, has remained a strong pillar of support to all governments since he assumed the throne of his forefathers in 1995 as the 11th Emir of Ilorin. President Buhari prayed God to grant the traditional ruler more years of worthy service to his people and humanity in good health. Similarly, the Emir of Ilorin and Chairman Kwara State Council of Emirs and Obas, Alhaji Ibrahim Suligambari CFR, has been described as an exemplary leader whose reign has brought enduring peace and unprecedented multidimensional progress to Ilorin Emirate and Kwara State in general. This commendation is contained in a congratulatory message sent to the monarch on his 80th birthday by the national president of the Ilorin Emirate Descendants Progressives Union, Alhaji Aliu Uthman. While wishing the Emir many more years of good health and fruitful service to humanity on the respected throne, Alhaji Uthman assured the monarch of the continued and unwavering loyalty of members of the union and the generality of the good people of Ilorin Emirate community. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, over the death of his father, Alhaji Idris Hussein. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu. The President said the late Hussein did not only live for himself, but also devoted his life to the service of humanity through his philanthropic deeds. The President appealed to other well-to-do members of the society to borrow a leaf from the noble deeds of the late Idris Hussein. He prayed Allah to give and to forgive the soul of the deceased and grant him paradise for his good deeds during his remarkable life on earth. And in the next segment of News Extra, a throwback in time. COVID-19 realities necessitate market days in the city. What happens when the gates are opened? Find out when we return.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, inspired by babies.
No perfect family may be under threat by germs. Germs can cause infectious diseases like diarrhea, typhoid, and flu. These infectious diseases are amongst the biggest killers of adults and children. In Nigeria, tens of thousands of children under the age of 5 have died due to diarrhea caused by germs. These illness-causing germs are everywhere. Dirty surfaces, on cuts and wounds, on your clothes, in unclean bathing water. To protect your family from germs, use the power of Dettol's 1 capful. For surface cleaning, for first aid, for your laundry, in your bathing water, and to protect your family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Introducing Dettol with aloe vera. Soothing aloe vera, the power of Dettol, which is soft on skin and hard on germs. Be Dettol Sure.
What we are really cultivating here is a better future for all Nigerian women, and it's not always easy. Panadol Extra relieves headache, backache, joint pain, toothache, and menstrual pain. The pain is worth it.
The coronavirus pandemic has changed the way we see the world,
the way we work and interact with each other.
COVID-19 affects all of us.
To defeat this human challenge and protect our great country, Nigeria, we must listen to our health professionals.
Stay home. Wash your hands or sanitize. If you have symptoms,
contact the health authorities immediately.
Join the private sector coalition against COVID-19
by supporting any way you can.
Nothing is too small to make a difference. We can do it because we're strong and resilient.
Let's fight to defend our motherland, Nigeria, by working together.
And stay alive together.
We can stay alive, stay alive, stay alive together.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life.
Awesome screen, awesome camera, long-lasting battery life. Awesome screen,
camera. Long-lasting battery.
Awesome screen, awesome camera.
Long-lasting battery life.
Today on Happy Clean Niger Mission, we visit Mrs. Johnson live in Lagos.
Helen Paul.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To clean your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for stains in the toilet. Harpic Thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow! Now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
A mother's instincts are hardly ever wrong. She knows when all is not well. And she trusts M&B Paracetamol, the red one, to save the day. With fast-acting and effective M&B Paracetamol tablet, the red one, and its pleasant-tasting pineapple flavor syrup, she sends aches and pains far away from her family. M&B Paracetamol. Pain can't stop you. If symptoms persist after 2 days, consult your doctor.
Hello everyone, hope you are keeping safe by washing your hands with soap or using sanitizers. Stay at home, it's the responsible thing to do, and whilst you're at it, you can do anything to keep your body and your mind together. Grow a beard like me if you want to, but please, let's stay at home. It's the responsible thing to do.
Make your home the place to be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun.
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
All right, everybody, let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things.
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
Welcome back to News Extra. Little things like handshake and hugging must be avoided now that the hunt for the treatment of COVID-19 is still on. So market days in the Federal Capital Territory now only on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But the distinction between neighborhood and major markets is a bone of contention, and the observance of non-contact based interactions in the marketplace is another kettle of fish. Let's join Mayor Ogede on how to market activities went in the FCT this Wednesday.
Traffic in a city on lockdown, but driving closer tells the reason. It's Wednesday, the COVID-19 induced market day in the Federal Capital Territory. And here is Garuki Area 2 Neighborhood Market. The message at the entrance is, please wear your face mask and hand gloves while entering the market. Quite heartwarming, but adherence to this message is disheartening. Some entering the market without the requirements.
The question is Utako Garki markets still part of the neighborhood market? So, of course, the answer is no, they are not.
That is a clarification coming from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Otaku market is not a neighborhood market, but both neighbors and non-neighbors flooded the market this Wednesday. Population was high, money and goods exchanging bare hands, but the managers of the market justified their action.
We have approval to open Wednesdays and Saturdays. It's a neighbor market because it's within the villages.
If you go to Wuse from zone 1 to zone 7, you cannot find any single neighborhood market dealing with groceries, okay? So they serve dual purposes, okay? They could be central, they could be neighborhood.
Obviously, there is need for reconciliation on the categorization of neighborhood markets. Taking a look at Kubo Furniture Market from the skies, one may conclude is on lockdown, but from the plains gives another view. Partial business activities are ongoing.
Not partially open, the market is totally shut down.
Did you see any business going on? Nobody's opening. Nobody's doing business.
Everyone coming up with his or her own justification in the business arena. Justifications that may give the dreaded coronavirus a free ride in the marketplace. Mayor Ogidi, NT News.
Oh, Mayor Ogidi, no social distancing there at all. We should please stay safe. While port users continue to benefit from the federal government's waivers on storage fee and demurrage due to the lockdown, port managers are also exploiting avenues at making significant sacrifices, which invariably will reduce cost of clearing cargoes and containers. It is one of the strategies to identify the present economic reality posed by the coronavirus disease. And Michael Olale reports.
The signs and symbols are instructive. It is part of the measures to ensure that while the ports remain operational, safety is not compromised. This is one of the numerous terminals in Tinkan Island. Unlike the containers and cargoes occupying vast landmass, the COVID-19 precautionary message has spread to nooks and crannies.
People who are on essential duties are the people who are on ground. So if you are not on essential duty, you have nothing to do in the port.
The federal government is not just leaving the ports open, but giving incentives and discounts for operators through rebates and waivers. It is a laudable initiative in which key players in the industry are new to support.
Let's take advantage of the fact that the roads are free so that cargo can move freely on the road. So from our side, we are ready to give waivers, but at the same time, we also ask the support of all stakeholders to facilitate the clearance of cargo.
Beyond using the periods to decongest the ports, there is a renewed commitment to make sacrifices, as this meeting with the truck owners is considering a 15% reduction in freight rates.
We appeal to a patriotic sentiment. We appeal to the urgency, that we have now, that keep people in employment. So operate the port, let's clear the cargo.
This is not a time to look for maximum profit. They could make more money, they could make more profit if they make more trips.
Eliminating unnecessary charges while accessing the ports, review of the terminal delivery order, and automation of port services are some of the strategies key players believe will help actualize the federal government's goal for the industry during the coronavirus pandemic. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
And today marks 56 years of meritorious service from the Nigerian Air Force, and there has been a series of activities marking the anniversary. However, this year's celebration is quite different, as Naja Atutijani spoke to the Chief of the Air Staff on the significance of the event.
It's the tradition of the Nigerian Air Force to display air power on such occasions, and here they come. Sporting green, white, green, the Nigerian flag, the colors of the Nigerian flag, a tribute to what's happening in the country. It's not just about the Nigerian Air Force celebrations, but the Air Force is trying to raise awareness about the coronavirus pandemic. And with me here is the Chief of the Air Staff to tell us more about this year's celebration, why it's being celebrated on a low-key, and what the Nigerian Air Force is doing to fight the coronavirus pandemic.
I want to say that today we are celebrating the 56th anniversary of the Nigerian Air Force. You remember that the Air Force was established in 1964, and this year's celebration is low-key because of the situation on ground. The COVID-19 pandemic is a serious problem that is not only affecting Nigeria but globally. So what we have decided to do is to take some time out, at least to remember those that have given their lives, so that we all can remain alive and our nation can remain a united nation.
The NAF says it will continue to look into research and development of ventilators and other equipment targeted at
fighting COVID-19. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Online media practitioners have been enjoined to exercise restraint and fact-check their stories before publishing. One of Nigeria's foremost female engineers, Mrs. Olumaduka, made the call while reacting to a statement credited to her on the social media, purportedly asserting that government was not doing enough in the fight against COVID-19. She was said to have made the observation after a visit to the mainland hospital in Lagos.
State emphatically that I did not write the article being circulated widely under my name, as I have not visited any isolation center either on the mainland or anywhere else. I've been home for about 4 weeks, even before the state official lockdown, because at my age I belong to the high-risk group. So there is no way I would have visited an isolation center either in the mainland or anywhere else. However, social media should not be abused, it must be used responsibly. In this light, I would like to commend Governor Sanwo-Olu and his team, including my colleague, the Deputy Governor, for the good work they are doing, and we sincerely pray that this horrible season will soon be over.
Mrs. Olumaduka is the first female Nigerian chartered engineer. And when we return from this break we are about to take, you get to see how digital technology now holds sway even in the judiciary, courtesy of COVID-19. We would be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently challenged with, we at Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society enjoin all Muslims to adhere strictly to government directives geared towards stopping the spread of the virus. These measures include the stay-at-home order, washing of hands with soap and water, using hand sanitizers where water is not available, and other hygiene measures. We remind you all of the words of Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 195, which says, "And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction." We also remind you of the hadith of the noble Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, "Do not cause harm or return harm." Please stay at home and stay safe with continuous dua. This message is from Project Itfine of Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
Human resource.
Today on Happy Clean Niger Mission, we visit Mrs. Johnson live in Lagos. Helen Paul. Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To clean your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for stains in the toilet. Harpic Thick formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergents and bleach.
Wow, now I'm convinced, Helen Paul.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that she's part of the mission, the next house is yours.
Shegun. How far say tomorrow still day on?
What's your tomorrow?
Community meeting now.
You know they here, Abi?
Na beggy. See, if we meet for my house, inside parlor, then go no.
This COVID-19 is not a child's play.
If you want to elect a new secretary,
Do one for WhatsApp or for Skype or even on Zoom. Or we just wait.
I will not negotiate
this social distancing. It is non-negotiable.
Not every infected person shows symptoms, but every infected person is contagious. Avoid large gatherings and self-isolate if you think you might have come in contact with a carrier. Your safety and the safety of others is in your hands.
This message is from the...
Great to have you back. With deep sense of loss but total submission to the will of God, the family of late Stephen Ejate Ode announces the passage into glory of their mother and wife, late Mrs. Elizabeth Oloche Ode, who passed on the 12th of March 2020 at the age of 105. A program released by Chief Patrick Ode Ejate on behalf of the family on burial arrangements indicates that Friday 24th of April 2020, body departs famous mortuary Ukuku for an all-night wake-keep at Ada Uboji, Olacho, Okpoma, Yala local government area of Cross River State. While internet comes up on Saturday 25th of April 2020 at the same place. And the board of directors, management and staff of Voice of Nigeria say they have received with shock the news of the death of Engineer Mohammed Njuma Usman, a former Executive Director of Information, Communication and Technology of VON. A statement by the Director General of VON, Mr. Osicha Okichuku, described the deceased as the pioneer director of ICT at the agency who played a vital role in ensuring that VON was taken to a higher level in e-administration and digital broadcasting. The Director General prayed that God grant the family the fortitude to bear the loss. And with that, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I am Fatima Marbuba. Please stay safe.